Non-Canadians, what is the first thing that comes to mind when you think Canada? Extremely polite maple syrup. That's my joke. But, really, I think back to my childhood. Growing up in shitty apartments with a trailer park nearby in South Florida. An older couple that were snowbirds. People from a place with snowy winters, who come to a warm place to spend the winter and then return home in the spring. They were the most delightful people. They somehow knew my dad. He was gone a lot for work and my mom was brutal. Anyway, they would arrive. They had a small trailer with an attached screened-in porch. The porch had jalousie windows. The trailer was a small one-bedroom affair, tiny. It was neat as a pin. When they arrived, she would open it up and begin cleaning for their 3-month visit. The husband would be gone to work or the horse track. She would hire me to wash windows, pull weeds and clean. She paid me a few dollars here and there. Literally $5 was a king's ransom back then. But she would cook for me. She made lunches and baked goods. I existed on cereal and other crap at home. My mother was a 100-pound cigarette smoker and didn't eat hardly at all and therefore never cooked. She was older when I was born. I was an oops kid for sure. At home my life sucked. This lovely woman fed me and treated me with kindness and dignity that my 11-year-old self had never known. I'm in my 50s now and can still see the inside of the screened-in porch in the TV tray where I sat and ate for a few days and then once a week after mowing for those 3 months. For 5 years until the husband died and they never returned. I swear, this lovely French-Canadian lady is responsible for any of the good that is in my heart. I hadn't thought of those moments in quite a while. I'm getting teary writing this. So there. That's what Canada means to me. That is a beautiful story. As a Canadian here, I raise my maple syrup to you and say cheers. Maple syrup and the Canadian flag. Honestly, that's what I just thought of. But also, I think of trees, airplanes, and Saskatchewan. Edit. The letter Z. Z. Or according to Canadians, Z. You have no idea how hard it is to insist to 2 toddlers that it's pronounced Z when every single song, TV show, toy, etc. says Z. They think I'm either an idiot or bullshitting the Monsieur Canadian here. Shout out to the great US band ZZ Top. A. The Woods. Even though they're not talked about much, Canada's extensive boreal forests are super cool to me. Edit. Now wondering how my most upvoted comment is literally just me saying that trees are neat. It's disappointing how few people know that Canada has a rainforest, separate from the boreal forests. Back in the day, 80s and stuff, we used to go across the St. Clair River, Lake St. Clair to go to Canada. The thing that sticks out in my mind is the friendliest border guards, Coast Guard guys in the world. It was like, hey, so why are you traveling to Canada today? Oh, we're just gonna go pick some strawberries at that pharmacy. You know the one. Oh, cool. Well, have a nice time. And don't forget to bring some back for us. Quote. Once out on the lake, we got busted by Canadians for having open alcohol on the boat. You guys know that's against the law over here. Right? Quote. My brother puts his beer out of their line of sight. Okay, you guys have a nice day. Quote. And of course, living so close to Canada, we got hockey night in Canada. SCTV and CBC Radio. Now take off. Someday, in the middle of the night, we're going to sneak out and move the border just south of you. Then you won't be sorry. Poutine. Ah, the OL Canadian salad. First I picture the beautiful flag. The simplicity and elegance which makes for a perfect flag. Then I picture the map. A huge county covered in unique and interesting nature. Then I picture the Mounties, dressed in their sophisticated red uniforms, gracefully riding their horses. Then I picture downtown Vancouver where I saw a hobo taking a piss in his hat. Stop, you're making me weep patriotic tears. Sorry, but Ryan Reynolds. and Ryan Gosling, Psy, and Keanu Reeves, and Jim Carrey. The Red Green Show. I will always imagine that show portrays the ideal Canadian life. If the women don't find you handsome, they should at least find you handy. Maple syrup in MOOSE. How South Park portrays them. Blame Canada. Hockey. How in the world has no one said this? Wheel Snipe Sally boys. Dirty fucking Dangles boys. Rush. I went to the same high school as Neil Peart and the guys who created Trivial Pursuit. Rip Neil Peart. Maple syrup. Real maple syrup. The fact that fake maple syrup exists is unfathomable to me. Ketchup potato chips. Okay, but they are delicious and my favorite flavor ever. Have you even had all dressed? Okay, honestly they're like my third favorite. To me, probably heroism and loyalty. Canada played a very major role in liberating my country from German occupation in WW2. And every year during the 5th and 6th of May we commemorate your bravery and sacrifice. So yeah, thank you Canada. Edit. Well, I didn't think there would be so much love for my little froggy country. Thank you all for your kindness and thank you so much for the silver. It's my first. 3. We love you too Netherlands. Phil Hartman, Jim Carrey, Mike Myers, Dan Aykroyd, Will Arnett, Tommy Chong, John Candy. So funny dudes. Yeah, I know, I'm old. In addition, Martin Short, Ryan Reynolds, Matthew Perry, Michael J. Fox, Seth Rogen, Leslie Nielsen, Eugene Levy, Dan Levy, Russell Peters, Norm Macdonald, Michael Cera, Howie Mandel, Lorne Michaels, Rick Moranis, Jerry D., Colin Mockery, Nathan Fielder, Ron James, Jason Jones, Rich Little, Rick Mercer, Will Sasso, Alan Thicke, The Kids in the Hall and the Trailer Park Boys. So yeah, definitely funny dudes. Edit. Sorry. We also have wonderfully funny and talented women. The original comment was about a bunch of funny guys. So I limited my response to men. But I forgot to mention that yes, we do also have women here. And many of them are also very funny. Mike Myers is Canadian. Man, I feel dumb now. I genuinely thought he was Scottish. Mike Myers is so Canadian he wrote a book called Mike Myers Canada. Calls it his love letter to Canada in the foreword. Robin going to the mall in Hingham. I have a lot of friends in Canada, so I think of the Monsieur Smiley face. This is so wholesome. Trailer Park Boys. No joke. Nova Scotia smokes more weed per capita than any other province and it makes a lot of sense once you watch that show. Lake Louise. Propose to my wife there. Right this moment. Letter Kenny. How are ya now? Good and you? Not so bad. Bob and Doug Mackenzie. I'm surprised no one has mentioned Alex Trebek. He's a national treasure. The fact that my ancestors were ejected from Canada by the British. I wish people who could prove Acadian ancestry, Cajuns, could get a track to citizenship there. I fantasized about moving to Montreal as a teen. I'm actually surprised you can't get a citizenship if you're able to prove that. I checked back then and the immigration materials don't outline any specific provisions for this. But I speak French and both my spouse and myself are in desired medical professions. Psychotherapy and pathology. We could probably get approved but he refuses to move to a cold climate. That's a common mistake. Where 85% of the population lives, of Canada has 4 distinct seasons, with summers as warm as you can imagine, greater than Acadian. My partner is Acadian French from Nova Scotia. The culture difference between them and Quebecois is crazy. I'm Acadian from Moncton. Both Acadia and Quebec were 2 separate French colonies with almost no contact for hundreds of years. Most people don't understand how different the culture is. Snow. Lots of snow. If it's not cold it's hot in Canada. Or at least where I live. A wonderful life without effing pennies. When it first happened I had a guy flip out and make me refund an entire order because I couldn't give him 2 pennies. He started ranting about sending a letter to Harper and that we couldn't rob. Hi monsieur. I'm Australian. This is what I think of when I think Canada. Friendliness and politeness. The Canadian flag. Maple trees, leaves, syrup. Mountains. Cold weather. Poutine. Speaking French. Hockey. I always viewed Australia as like a cousin to Canada. Nah, you have to take Australia and New Zealand together and realize New Zealand is the Canada of that group and Australia is the US. Same as Czech and Slovakia. Or England and Scotland, Ireland. Mounted police. I know a Royal Canadian mounted police officer and he said none of them ride horses and 90% of them are never trained to ride horses, let alone do police work on a horse. I've seen a lot of police in Toronto riding huge police horses but no RCMP. Nice people. My so said Trudeau and then smirked. For me, maple syrup. I didn't know what poutine was till I came here and it is the best thing I've ever had. After Indian street food. We're here now but we're not from here or from the same place. If you know what I mean. Yeah. So, Trudeau is just everything. Not dumb. Not selfish. Not evil. Not orange. Not threatening people with camo from the Army-Navy store in Pontiac that were too fucking lazy and stupid to earn it. While standing in rush hour traffic around the state capitol screaming, I need a haircut from Oryx. Move freedoms SSS. Quote. Give me some long-haired 3-week beard. OMG, he's starting to look like a hockey player. He's feeding the kids on Timmy's and Kraft dinner so he can help the fucking people that move their fucking economy. Hey, remember that time he misspoke? Then immediately mentioned the fact that he had misspoke. And then just move on like a normal functional human being instead of making up some contrived excuse why he didn't actually misspeak. That was nice. Moistly. This is weird, but honestly Degrassi. Next Generation comes to mind. Drake being on that show playing Jimmy cracks me up. Plus Spinner is my fav character for sure. Love that fucking guy. I live about 45 minutes from Canada in Michigan. Hockey, poutine, and 19-year-old drinking age for me. 18 here in Manitoba. Also don't forget fully nude strippers. Beavers. Tim Hortons, and most importantly, poutine! Exclamation mark. It's funny BC most Canadians I know hate Timmy Hoes. My GF's small Canadian cottage town has been pushing against one being built for years. Tim Hortons is a shell of what it once was and that's a fact. Still love ice caps, Timbits, and their blueberry muffins though. Yeah, I lived in Canada like 13 years ago and Tim Hortons was amazing. Like easily my favorite fast food restaurant, but since then Burger King bought them and the quality has gone way downhill. Now they just seem like a knockoff Dunkin' Donuts. Canadian here. It's not great but it's convenient. All dressed ruffle chips. Where I want to live for the rest of my life. The Tragically Hip. Watched it long time running. Netflix. Doco last night and highly recommend it. Ain't nothing more Canadian than that. Canadian here. The most Canadian moment I've experienced is probably the night of the Hip's last concert. When it was broadcast live all across the country. Entire communities came out and watched together in parks, etc. on big screens. It felt like every single Canadian had come together in that moment. And the sense of national unity that night is something I'll never forget. Bret Hart. And after this week's episode of Dark Side of the Ring, Owen Hart's sad face. He was a much beloved guy inside and outside of the ring. They're an awesome family and us Calgarians are really proud they're ours. Bagged milk. These Canadian motherfuckers. They put milk in a bag. In a bag. It's basically a pillow filled with milk. What sort of twisted shit is that? Ontario motherfuckers only. Quebec too. Free healthcare. It isn't completely free, it comes off my paycheck and I barely notice it. I'm grateful for our single-payer system but think it could definitely be improved. Dental and optical should definitely be included and mental health should be better. That dental isn't covered always drives me We'll cover every muscle, tendon, organ, and 174 bones in your body. And it's all good, no problem, have a good day. But these 32 bones right here, the ones which are more prone to infections, disfigurements, and require constant care, otherwise can cause debilitating pain. You pay for your damn self. Quote, if you let the dental problem go long enough that it gets wildly infected, it's suddenly covered. Guy tapping head. GIF. Thank you so much for watching and have a good day.